copy the permit doesn't. She is the personification of the power of nature. She is connected with Merweret, which means the great fullness. This is the primeval waters from which the sun god Ere emerged. She gives birth to the sun god Re. She's the mother. She's the mother of all living. Eve, if you will. The Eve principle. Smith says is the sun. She is the source that sustains life, even that on the stars. Joseph Smith says this power governs the stars. That's not a mess. I got news for you. Joseph Smith scores nowhere near 0. Nowhere near. Let me keep going. Oh, okay. I'll give you this. No, I'm going to give you this one. Do I still have 10 minutes? 15?
18.
Oh, I've got enough to put the rest of the half of the class to sleep. Yeah, I got half of you beat, man.
You got a half hour, Kerry.
Half hour? You guys are going to be bored to death by the time I'm done. Pure torture. If these stupid things are quit curling, I'm not trying to stand in your way, I'm sorry. I'm trying to have a high. Okay, on this is the central panel in facsimile number 2, the very middle one, the two-headed C to D. I'm hop skipping and jumping, you know, that's my nature. I don't hop, skip, and jump. This is, see this hieroglyph right here? Now I want to show you this, because this is good. This is good. Remember? And I will agree with the scholars and with the Egyptologists. I'm here to tell you, they will use it as a negative. Joseph Smith didn't know Egyptian. Trust me. They got one right. Joseph Smith didn't know Egyptian. I promise. There's no evidence. The Rosetta Stone had only been translated for a couple of years, and it was still over across the ocean. It didn't get to America until after Joseph Smith was gone. Notice this central figure. There ain't nothing there. That's the original. That's what Joseph Smith had. Reuben Hedlock made a woodcut way later so that they could publish it in the Times and Seasons in the 1840s. This is like 7 or 8 years later. And then they published it in the Times and Seasons. This was long after Joseph Smith commented on the figures. He's commenting on these figures from this unit. Are you kidding me, man? There's nothing there. Where's the two heads? Where's the hieroglyph? Here's what I want to show you. See that nifty looking little hieroglyph? This one, it's right above, it's right next to his head. And it's the funniest looking thing. It's really weird. When we break this apart, we get 3 sections. Can you all see that? Say yes, please.
Yes.
Oh, you're good. 3 little lines, an upside down L, and this thing, whatever that is. Here's what it is. Oh, don't trip over the cord. This hieroglyph is the sign of the primeval ocean. The water. Now, hey, I'm doing a series on the Council of the Gods, a series of videos for my YouTube site. And I've been translating out the Hebrew Genesis. And I found Blake Ostler's brand new book of God and Gods on the Council of the Gods. It's 500 pages thick. It's a beautiful, fabulous stuff. He analyzes the Hebrew. In the Hebrew of Genesis 1, Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim ve'et ha'aretz, all of that jazz, there is no creation ex nihilo. God creates from the chaos, the tohu vavohu, the ha'aretz haita tohu vavohu, the hoshekal b'nei tohu. The earth was empty and void, tohu vavohu, but it was already there because God didn't start creating until verse 3. There's no creation ex nihilo in the Hebrew. This shows the primeval water. There's no creation ex nihilo in the Egyptian either. That is a later doctrine that has been read back onto the Bible. Joseph Smith said, nothing doing, man. God, the head God of the gods, brought forth the gods, and he worked with matter. Bara, Bereshit bara. Bara in Hebrew is not creation ex nihilo. It is an organizing of the chaos. This is the same principle here. This is the primeval ocean. Remember, this is the creator God. He's the governor. He's the governor of time. Now, this is the primeval ocean, this hieroglyph. And the determinant for carat, what the Egyptians call carat, I'm sorry, that's fuzzy. But see, when I hold it down, I can't read it, so I'm going to have to leave it fuzzy. This represents half the sky. In Egyptian mythology, below noon, the part B, this part, this is half of the sky. This is the primeval waters, the top part of this hieroglyph, when we break it apart. This is the half of the sky. This part C here, this is the water emerging from the half of the sky. And the ancients always identified the heavens as water. So did the ancient Hebrews. Joseph Smith got that in his interpretation of the facsimiles. The pillars of heaven, they're water. These are the waters of the creation originally flowed, thought to be the source of the Nile. The Nile rose in the first cataract in the Kerti, or the double cavern. The Nile was considered the river of creative forces. The Nile was considered the river of creative forces. Joseph Smith said this is the first creation. See? He's not translating specific characters. He's translating the meaning. He's given you, hey, this is what this is. This is what it means to these guys. It is the first creation. The Nile is the font of Egypt's fertility. Khnum created... Now, oh, this is too good to lose. Listen up. Everybody awake? Sorry. I got to ham it up. I'm videoing this. This, Khnum, is the first egg, the first man on the potter's wheel. He is God of the first cataract, where the first city came into existence. Khnum arose from the creative waters. In Egypt, Khnum was the creator. He was the governor of the two lands. He was the primeval god of the watery Nile flood. Joseph Smith said, first in government, first in creation. That's not close. That's not a maybe. That is right there. That's a bullseye. That's a bullseye. Look for the camera right now. That's right, guys. Bullseye, baby. Oh, and now, can I get this? Oh, well, here's the hieroglyphs. I went through all the Egyptian grammar junk and all that because my critics love to say, oh, yeah, you're just making that up, Church. You know, you're an apologist desperate for some sort of an argument of confirmation. So none of the scholars agree with Joseph Smith. And here's the other interesting thing. He's right in some respects, the critics. There is no Egyptologist out there that agrees with Joseph Smith when they're talking about Joseph Smith and his interpretations. But when they're writing for the Egyptian journals, when they're writing their books for the other scholars, this is what they say. When they're not thinking about Joseph Smith and Mormonism, they go ahead and translate the meaning of the hieroglyphs. But when they look at Joseph Smith, they say, oh, that's the Mormon bozo. No good, nothing right. See the problem here? They're translating it the same way for a different audience that Joseph Smith gave us. It's very interesting. So what I did is I went and got the evidence in the grammars. These are the Egyptian hieroglyphs below. These translate as, these right here translate as, the father of the gods is noon, and the Nile floweth. And here's the Nile flowing out of the Kerti right here. This is the father, this is actually the seated deity. He floweth from the Kerith, from his cavern of primordial gods. And they had a council of the gods also. In the beginning was the council of the gods. Joseph Smith says the head god of the god brought forth the gods. You want to see the head god of the god? There he is right there. Right. He is the first, the God of the first creation. So there you go. Well, Joseph Smith also identified this as a measurement of time. Now get this. I'm going to read this because this is good. Joseph Smith also identified this as a measure of time, which celestial time signifies 1 day to a cubit. Now what's, when I first read that, I thought, one day to a cubit. W. Flinders Petrie found the Egyptian cubit of 29.161 inches from swinging a pendulum 100,000 times in 24 hours at the latitude of Memphis in Egypt. Note Joseph Smith's 1 day, which is time, to a cubit, space, in relation to his identification here. The Egyptian relationship is the same. Joseph equated the number 1,000 with time and space. The Egyptian view shows that there are, I wish that would lay flat. It's the heat, I tell you, the heat. The Egyptian view shows that there are 86,400 seconds in a day of 24 hours, or the time